Welcome to Echo of Crime YouTube channel. The police was silent as they stood in front of the small blue house on Pine Street. Only the sound of a soft hum from a nearby ring camera filled the air. Detective Laura Miles replayed the footage again on her laptop. The screen showed a quiet suburban night, the street lights glowing yellow, the sound of crickets in the distance. Then, at 2:13 a.m., a man appeared in the frame. He stood perfectly still for a few seconds, looking straight into the camera like he knew it was there. His face was calm, almost too calm. Then suddenly, the front door of the house opened, and a scream followed. The man stepped inside, the door closed, and the video cut off. Everyone watching froze. The camera didn't catch the full act, but that short clip told a terrifying truth. The murder had been recorded, but nobody noticed it for weeks. The neighbor who owned the Ring camera had only installed it for package deliveries. She never checked the saved videos, not until the smell from next door made her call the police. When detectives opened the footage, they realized they had found the missing piece of a mystery that had shaken the whole town of Clearwater, Ohio. 2 weeks earlier, the victim, a kind 38-year-old nurse named Megan Hayes, had been reported missing. She lived alone, kept to herself, and was last seen leaving the hospital after her night shift. At first, police believed she had taken a spontaneous trip. Her car was gone, and nothing inside her house seemed broken. Her friends said Megan had been stressed lately, but there was no sign she planned to disappear. Detective Miles remembered walking through Megan's tidy living room. A half-drunk cup of tea sat on the coffee table. Her phone charger was still plugged in. It looked like she had just stepped outside for a moment and never came back. For days, they searched nearby woods, questioned co-workers, and checked highway cameras. Nothing. It was like Megan had vanished into thin air. Then came the call from her neighbor, Mrs. Parker, who mentioned a strange smell and decided to hand over her Ring recordings, just in case. When the detectives pressed play and saw that calm man staring at the lens, every single officer felt a chill. They didn't yet know who he was or what happened after the door closed, only that the answer was hidden somewhere in that house. That night, Detective Miles took a deep breath, flashlight in hand, and stepped inside Megan Hayes' home, and what she found in the kitchen made her blood run cold. Detective Laura Miles stood frozen in the kitchen doorway, the faint smell of bleach mixed with something far worse. The floor looked freshly mopped, but one tile near the counter had a thin, pinkish line between the cracks. Someone had tried to clean in a hurry. Laura's flashlight swept across the counters. Everything looked too neat. The kettle sat perfectly centered on the stove. A single mug was turned upside down to dry. Then she noticed something strange. The clock on the wall had stopped at exactly 2:17 a.m., the same time the Ring camera footage ended. It wasn't a coincidence. Someone had been inside this kitchen right after the scream. "Get forensics in here," Laura said quietly to her partner, Officer Reynolds. They started collecting evidence, fiber samples, fingerprints, anything that could explain what happened that night. Behind the refrigerator, Laura found a small brown paper bag. Inside was Megan's hospital ID card, bent in half. It looked like someone had stepped on it. The next day, the investigation deepened. Detectives traced the Ring camera clip frame by frame. The man's face was blurry, but part of a tattoo was visible on his wrist when he reached for the doorknob. That small detail sent the case in a new direction. They ran the image through the state's database and found a possible match: Ryan Keller, a maintenance worker who used to fix hospital security systems, the same hospital where Megan worked. Keller had been fired 3 months earlier for stealing medical equipment. Police visited his apartment, but it was empty. His car was gone, and his phone had been turned off for days. Yet when they checked local gas station cameras, one clip showed his car heading north out of Clearwater just hours after Megan's disappearance. Detective Miles felt the pressure growing. Media outlets were already calling it the Pine Street mystery. The town was scared. People double-checked their door locks every night. The idea that a killer might still be walking free made everyone uneasy. Then, late one evening, Laura received a call from Mrs. Parker again. "Detective, I just checked my Ring app again, and there's something new." Laura rushed to her house and opened the playback file. The footage was dated the morning after Megan's disappearance. It showed Ryan Keller returning to the crime scene, standing in the driveway at dawn, holding something wrapped in a towel. He looked up once more, straight into the camera, and smiled. Laura's heart pounded. The timestamp showed exactly 6:04 a.m. That was after the murder. What was he bringing back? And what was hidden inside that towel? By sunrise, the quiet neighborhood of Clearwater was surrounded by patrol cars. Police tape fluttered in the cold wind as detectives re-entered Megan's house with a warrant. The Ring camera footage had given them probable cause. This time, they checked every corner of the property, crawl spaces, attic, and even the backyard shed. Inside the shed, beneath a loose wooden plank, they found a small, dirt-covered metal box. Laura knelt, pulled on her gloves, and carefully opened it. Inside were Megan's car keys, her missing phone, and a USB drive wrapped in plastic. The discovery connected every clue together. Back at the station, digital forensics examined the USB. It contained dozens of hidden camera clips, all showing hospital staff areas and locker rooms. Ryan Keller had secretly recorded co-workers during his maintenance shifts. But one clip stood out. It showed him arguing with Megan Hayes. She had confronted him for stealing medical supplies. That confrontation happened only 2 days before she went missing. When police reviewed cell tower pings, Keller's phone and Megan's phone were in the same area at 2 a.m. the night she disappeared. It was the final proof they needed. The case against him was undeniable. But the story wasn't over. As the detectives prepared an arrest warrant, another strange notification came from Mrs. Parker's Ring camera, motion detected again at the same time. 2:13 a.m. Laura opened the live feed and froze. There he was, Ryan Keller, standing in the same spot, under the same streetlight, looking up at the camera like before. But this time, his expression was blank. Police raced to the scene, but by the time they arrived, the street was empty. No footprints, no car. Only the faint hum of the Ring device recording the night. For weeks afterward, residents claimed to see a shadow near Megan's house at odd hours. Some said it was just their imagination. Others believed Keller had returned to hide something more, or someone else was helping him. Detective Miles looked at the frozen frame on her laptop one last time. The man's face half lit by the porch light, eyes staring into the lens like he knew it was still watching. The Ring camera had solved one murder, but it might have just recorded the beginning of another.